This
Tom,
week, I'm happy.
Tom,
But
let me play you in, okay? Tommy,
all
I'm gonna
right,
play you in for the intro,
uh,
okay?
okay.
Tommy,
Th-
on my mark.
all right.
Ready? Go.
On this week, on haven't
What?
seen it.
Not on my tempo. Not on my tempo. Do it on my tempo, okay?
All right.
For three, two.
This week on haven't seen
You know, cut.
it.
You're dragging, Tommy. You're dragging or you rushing?
I think I'm rushing.
You're dragging. Whiplash coming up next. Haven't seen it with Tim Sestito and Tommy Tebene. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Thank you all so much for listening today. This is a podcast where one of us is watching a movie for the very first time. And today that is Tommy. Tommy's first time playing the drums, baby. Little
Yeah,
Charlie
first
Parker.
first time seeing Whiplash. I missed this at the time, as apparently a lot of people did. This didn't do great at the box office at the time, but good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it didn't like it got its like prestige after, like with the Oscars. I feel like it gained a lot of relevancy, but it did like this was not a movie I saw in theaters. I saw this my friends and I in college were watching like all the best picture nominees, and this
Mm.
one was one of them that we watched. And I
This would have been a great theater movie, I feel like, because
oh
they would have
yeah.
amped up the sound and everything like that. That's one thing I was noticing when watching this. I was like, damn, I wish I saw this on the big screen.
Yeah, so I pulled up some notes from they did an interview with the editor Tom Cross, and we'll dive more into it, but just discussing like the inspiration behind the shots and then how they actually mixed the drums. I got us all covered, so we'll
Yeah.
get into that later, Tommy. But first, as always, what did you watch this past week?
So I took the trip as my obligation as a U.S. citizen to go see the latest Marvel movie, and I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I actually really liked it. I thought it was a good conclusion to the Guardians trilogy. I mean, like, I think that it just shows this is James Gunn just like showing Marvel, like, hey, like, this is what you're gonna fucking miss. This is like the last time with me. You all forget. And I'm excited to see how he brings it to the table of DC, because this movie is just like full of heart, like a very tragic backstory for certain characters. I'm not going to spoil anything, but just shows pretty much the humanity of movie that have been missing in these movies for a little bit. It doesn't feel manufactured, and like the CGI is actually good. It's not like that Black Widow thing you keep on showing me on Twitter.
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't shown you that in like 2 years, dog.
Still, it's been a while.
No, I did not get to see that this weekend. So I wish I maybe was able to, because maybe a little more back and forth on it. Yeah, like I think for me, like superhero fatigue, fully to the
That's
max.
Yes, it's
Um,
fully set in for you.
it's set in for me since before Endgame, so it's only
Yeah.
gotten worse since then. I think this I'll probably go see Across the Spider-Verse because I really liked Into the Spider-Verse when it came out.
Yeah.
And I think this I'll go see because I really liked the Guardians movies. I thought the one and two were both just a league above the other one. I remember you taking me to go see Guardians 1, where I was like, oh, I just like distinctly remember being like, I really don't want to go see this movie. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
Tim, trust me, you're gonna like
Yeah.
this one. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's not like Thor 2. It's actually good. And I
Mm.
was like, all right, man, okay. And then I went and I was like, oh, that was actually a really, really good movie.
Yeah. Occasionally I hit with my movie suggestions.
You hit with your movie suggestions quite a bit, just not
Yeah.
when it's Evil Dead 2013.
Exactly. That's the main one I was thinking of. Just not that one. But that's what I knew you'd hate. So there we go.
Yeah, you told
See,
me that
I know you well.
you told me that ahead of time, which is fine. And yeah, so like I am curious to see how that trilogy concludes. I
Just
think
a great thing about like having movies with like diegetic soundtracks. I mean, that's the strength of the Guardians movies, and just like this hits again. I already have the fucking playlist for Guardians 3 on my Apple Music playlist right now. So some good hits right here, and more modern in some ways too than just 70s hits.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious to because I've seen a lot of like clips coming out. I know people the fan reaction has been a lot better than it was for Ant-Man Quantum Mania or whatever it was called. And
Yeah, yeah,
I'll go see it. I'm gonna go see it. I didn't realize it was my US obligation to go see it opening weekend.
yeah.
I,
It's what we were supposed to do with every Marvel movie. Might have missed the memo the last few times.
I think I've missed all the memos since like Spider-Man, whichever the last way home was.
Yeah,
Whichever way home was the last one. That's the one because I
that's
just
the last
I
Marvel movie you watched.
in no I saw Doctor Thor: Love and Thunder is the last one I saw, and I was done,
Just
completely
like that.
done.
Yeah.
I
So,
actually,
but no, this one was actually pretty good. So I mean, like, it's good. Chris Pratt is so great. It's just like that. James Gunn really has a hold of things, and I'm curious to see what he does with DC. I mean, he apparently just submitted the first draft of the new Superman movie, so I'm curious to see what he can do with that property.
yeah, I am curious too, basically on Superman because like he's such an iconic superhero, and since the Christopher Reeves Superman movies, there just has not been a good interpretation. Like I know people really like the Snyderverse, but it's a terrible depiction of Superman in my opinion, because Superman's whole thing is like I'm a human, but I'm also an alien, and it's like that relationship. And then that one is like I'm better than all the humans. I am a god on this earth, and it's like oh wow, you missed the point, man.
Yeah. It's a whole fucking mess of shit over there. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that James Gunn's rebooting it.
yeah, I think he'll do a fine job with Superman. So I actually one movie I saw this week was The Notebook
Okay.
with
Uh,
Ryan Gosling and Rachel
just on a
McAdams.
Friday night, you just decided like, oh, let me pop up some beers, let me get some pizza, let me watch The Notebook. Is that the vibe?
Yeah, no, I 100% watched that alone. Definitely not with somebody telling. Keen
just
observation skills.
just fire up right now. Let me try.
Yeah, just blowing up my spot here on what I do on Friday nights. No, yeah, so I watched The Notebook for the first time and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was like pretty good romantic movie. It's not really a rom-com.
No, I would call it a rom com.
No, I think it's one of those movies that I was if it didn't have as powerful of an ending,
Mm.
I don't know if it would have hit as hard as it did for like I think that was the best part was like taking all those moments and then having your gut completely punched at the end of that movie.
Yeah, that's definitely just like a like pull the rug underneath you kind of thing. I mean, I saw this movie, God, like when it came out, what, 20 years ago. At this point, we're getting old. Yeah, my sister made us watch it on like vacation once. So it was that the context of that. I'd be curious to see it under new lens now. So
So are we making a ruling that we can cover the notebook, especially if it's its 20th anniversary?
yeah, yeah. When is the 20th anniversary? Is it June?
I'm not sure. I'll look it up. Is the notebook 2004 or 2003? I am pulling it up. It's 2004, so it's 19 years.
2004, and
It's
that's
June.
May
It is
20th.
June. It is June.
Oh,
June
June 20th. We could celebrate for the 39th anniversary. Or no, 20,
19th.
19th. 19th. Not we're not there yet. Thankfully.
Stick to podcasting, not to math, Tommy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. My math skills at point. But yeah, fuck it. Rom-com of the month, Notebook.
I will a romantic movie. So we got a Hitchcock.
Or yeah, romantic, yeah.
I guess we got our schedule then figured out. But we got a Hitchcock. We're gonna do
We
Indiana
got Hitchcock,
Jones
Indiana
and
Jones,
and the Notebook.
and then every other month I've thrown some random horror movie you're gonna hate. So that's how we're gonna make it go.
And then I get to pick a movie.
Yeah. Some random 3 hour epic I haven't
Oh,
seen before. It's like,
Babylon.
hey, Tommy, it's 4th of July weekend. We're gonna be covering Avatar 1 and 2. So strap in. This is your
I
4th of
would
July
make you watch The
weekends.
Lord of the Rings. Are you kidding?
Well, I've seen those.
So now we're going to cover what for me is personally a top 10 movie for me. I love this movie so much. This is Whiplash.
All right, Whiplash. 5, 6, and I push people beyond what's expected of them.
Why would you let him get away with what he did to you?
Because I want to be great.
I can cut you anytime I want.
You would have cut me by now.
Try me! There are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job.
Whiplash, rated R. Now playing select cities, coming soon to a theater near you.
Whiplash. You definitely feel it in this movie a couple times. Tommy, for you, what did you know about Whiplash going in? And how did those expectations unravel during your watch of the movie?
Well, first of all, this is a movie always confused with the fucking Drew Barrymore movie, Whip It, about like the roller derby girls.
They're the exact same movie, very similar themes.
Very similar themes right here. So right there, going for it. So I'm glad I didn't accidentally watch this tonight. But no, Whiplash. All seriousness, I mean, like I knew that this is a movie about like drumming and like how the ending was like he gave some great performance, and J.K. Simmons is very intimidating and abusive, and I was like, cool. Doesn't sound like a fun hang. I'll watch that at some point. So that's why I avoided this movie for a little bit. And yeah, this movie kind of lived to those expectations. And a way I'd say it's good. I mean, this is a good movie, don't get me wrong, but this movie in a lot of ways felt like an anxiety dream, especially at some points. It feels like kind of like that dream you have of like you show up to some fucking important meeting or interview or something like that, and you're not prepared. That's just the vibe that felt throughout. And you know, the J.K. Simmons character felt exactly what I felt he would feel like, which was made me feel very uncomfortable.
For me, this is probably my fifth or sixth time watching Whiplash. So for me, I always try to find something new. And it was for me this time it was more of an analysis of Andrew Newman, played by Miles Teller, who's like the main character. I feel like J.K. Simmons, without question, gives such a all-time villain performance in this, and especially in a movie where you wouldn't expect a villain, right? Like where you're like, this guy is a bad news.
You'd feel like this would almost be like a good vibe, like movie where it's just like, oh, all these like band, like this kid coming into this new world that's so exciting. This is in many ways a coming of age story, but just like someone who's taking the wrong lesson from coming of age, you know. It's insane. This movie apparently was originally developed as a psychological thriller, and you can definitely feel it, especially, I mean, at the points where J.K. Simmons is screaming at Miles Teller's face. Even before that, just the psychological torment you see this guy through. The interesting part about this movie for me is that I thought it ended about like 30, 40 minutes before it actually did.
And what do you mean by that?
The point in the movie where he gets to the car accident and then shows up to the fucking theater to give the performance late as hell,
and curses him out,
tackles him and everything like that. I thought the movie was gonna end right there, and like for a second I was like, wait, what? I took my what's it called, remote, and just saw like, shit, there's like 30, 40 minutes left in this. I definitely felt like if that was like a psychological thriller, it would have gone darker and darker down that path, or just ended right there and just be like, yeah, this guy fucked up his life because of J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, he fucked up his life. And for me, like exploring this character more, and especially the relationship between Newman and Fletcher, and I think this is kind of the brilliant part of Simmons' performance. I think he knew that Andrew had one of the two things, either the talent to be the next Charlie Parker, or at least the mental strength and the determination to be that great. But I don't think it's clear exactly which one he saw in him, which I think is nice. It leaves that little like mystery, those little overtones there. But I think, you know, Andrew is also just as crazy and leaning into the beatings. I think he feels like if I'm going to be excellent, I'm going to be a part of this world, this is just what's going to happen to you. These are the people that are in this world, in a world that's as perfection driven as jazz is. And
Yeah.
for me, because I played jazz all the way through college, jazz, I think it gets a rap as like, oh, it's just improvising. It's a discipline, jazz.
Did you get slapped?
No, it's not. I was never in that kind of environment, thankfully. But I'm saying the music is, and especially like the sheet music, is really
Yeah.
tight. You'll get improv during solos,
Mm.
but it is, and there's different styles of jazz, but the kind of jazz they were playing there, incredibly disciplined, incredibly difficult to play.
It made me realize that like I would never have the fucking drive to do any of this. I mean, like as someone who was playing rock band on Saturday morning, I quit because I couldn't get to past a certain song an expert. I would not be able to be in a fucking jazz band. I mean, at what point, Tim, do you think that you would just like quit the class of J.K. Simmons or just be like, yeah, I'm not in for this? I think day one, the second he shouted, I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm out. I don't care that much about jazz or like whatever. Even if it was like a passion I was really passionate about. So.
Well, as a trombone player, when he asks if I'm out of tune and calls me Elmer Fudd, that's probably when I would be out. And that whole sequence, the Andrew's first day in the studio band, is such a mind fuck, man. The whole thing.
He's tormenting these fucking kids, and like it's shocking. I'm glad they did end up bringing this point of like, hey, like people have been led to suicide, like do you want to sue this guy and everything like that, because the whole entire time there was almost a nitpicky thing I was thinking where I was like, someone would have broken and been like, fuck this guy, I'm reporting to him, the school board or something. And I'm shocked it didn't happen earlier in the context of the movie.
Well, I mean it is a movie. It just,
well, exactly, that's one of the things that combined with the movie, so I'm able to let it slide. But it's one thing, like, think about this guy. I mean, this guy also like narrowly avoided like fucking like in the Me Too or whatever, he'd just been canceled immediately, just out there like fuck this guy.
It's a different world. I think he uses a lot of homophobic slurs to insult and berate his players. He drops the F-bomb a number of times.
He's like the menacing kind of like Dr. Cox character.
Yeah, but I think, and I think it shows the first lesson of where I think, because I was saying before, does Fletcher think that Newman is talented enough or mentally strong enough for it?
Mm. And
I think that first lesson is an example of him thinking that he has the talent for it, but he needs to know if he's mentally strong enough, because they're starting their song. I think they're playing Whiplash at that point, and one of the trombones is out of tune, and he like goes down the line and goes to the fourth trombonist, makes him cry, calls him Elmer Fudd. He walks out, then he turns to the other guy, goes, hey, you're the one that's out of tune, but you know what, if he didn't know, he doesn't deserve to be here. And it's very impactful, and it shows that with him, you don't know if it's just a game. At some point it's a game of determining somebody's mental wherewithal, and it builds all the way up to that point with the car accident where Andrew forgets his drumsticks at the car rental place, has to drive back to get them like 5 minutes before the show starts, gets into an accident, shows up as a bloody mess to play on stage because he cannot miss that performance of Caravan, because then he is taken off the main seat in solo chair. And there's that great sequence where during the practice of Caravan, and they have the three drummers just going for 4 hours trying to hit the tempo, and it's not even trying to hit the tempo, it's just how fast can you hit your cymbal.
Well, this is a movie more than anything about just like a fucking character that like just like fell for the wrong mentor. His mentor is probably like one of the things where it's just like, yeah, you have to be fucking good, you have to be fucking great, you have to be fucking all this great stuff. And it's like one of those things where he's caught in a fucking relationship with J.K. Simmons where he just feels the need that he needs to constantly prove himself to this one guy, and it's never gonna be good. He has to always fucking practice, and it is dedication, but at some point, like, there's a line I feel like sometimes when it comes to dedication, which is what Yes.
Speaking of the line, there's a great bar sequence, and this is after Fletcher is disbarred, and Newman finds him playing in a jazz quartet in a random bar in the West Village, and he goes in, and they have this little scene here. It's a little longer than our usual clips, but I think the whole thing is important in terms of uncovering Fletcher's mindset.
Truth is, I don't think people understood what it was I was doing at Schaefer. I wasn't there to conduct. Any fucking moron can wave his arms and keep people in tempo. I was there to push people beyond what's expected of them. I believe that is an absolute necessity. Otherwise, we're depriving the world of the next Louis Armstrong, the next Charlie Parker. I told you that story about how Charlie Parker became Charlie Parker, right?
Joe Jones threw a cymbal at his head.
Exactly. Parker's a young kid, pretty good on the sax, gets up to play at a cutting session, and he fucks it up. And Jones nearly decapitates him for it. And he's laughed off stage. Cries himself to sleep that night, but the next morning, what does he do? He practices. And he practices and he practices with one goal in mind, never to be laughed at again. And a year later, he goes back to the Reno, and he steps up on that stage and he plays the best motherfucking solo the world has ever heard. So imagine if Jones had just said, well, that's okay, Charlie. That was all right. Good job. And Charlie thinks to himself, well, shit, I did do a pretty good job. End of story. No bird. That to me is an absolute tragedy. But that's just what the world wants now. I wonder why jazz is dying. I'll tell you, man, and every Starbucks jazz album just proves my point, really. There are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job.
But is there a line? You know, maybe you go too far and you discourage the next Charlie Parker from ever becoming Charlie Parker?
No, man, no. Because the next Charlie Parker would never be discouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you see this clip, it's just one of those things that just like it sparks a debate of just like, what is the line? How far do you want to go? Like, how much are you going to dedicate yourself to this craft? J.K. Simmons talked about him and Damien Chazelle like wanted to inspire discussion, debate about this movie, and he said, J.K. Simmons, the debate I love is how far is too far? How much is too much? Is it worth it? This kind of relentless abuse might be necessary and appropriate if you're trained Navy SEALs, but I don't know if it's appropriate in a music school. But it's there and it can be productive. There's no denying that. From my own perspective, I'd rather have a pretty girlfriend than go work with this guy and have my hands bleed all the time. It would have been a different choice. So it's kind of just like how this character just is an obsession right here. He just loses his humanity in the process. I feel like when he just wants to become the perfect drummer, he's like, "Oh, I don't have time for you, my girlfriend. Like, you're cool and all, but
you're gonna get in the way. You're gonna get in the way of me, and you're gonna resent me, and then you're gonna ask me to not practice as much, and then I'm gonna resent you." And she's like, "I already don't see you a lot."
Yeah,
and you think I'm gonna get in the way of you being good at the drums?
She's like, "You're just a fucking giant fucking piece of shit and asshole." And it's just like, you know, sometimes when you hear about like all these billionaires, like fucking Zuckerberg, wherever, they all come off of just like these awkward, antisocial, fucking like outcast freaks, because it's just like they just dedicate themselves to their fucking craft, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, do you want to be like that, or do you want to have a fucking healthy social life?
Yeah, it is a true obsession, and I think it sticks to Fletcher's point in determining who, you know, I think his goal for Newman was, and for any drummer he brings in, is, can I have the next Charlie Parker? Can I have the next great jazz drummer? And to this point, he has never found that. And
Charlie Parker was a saxophonist.
Well, I know, but he keeps saying Charlie Parker. It was Buddy Rich as the drummer that they were referring to, but they keep talking about the cymbal getting thrown into, or the seat getting thrown at his head.
Yeah,
I'm aware Charlie Parker is a saxophonist. Just to clarify, I was Buddy Rich.
Just want to make sure.
I got it. Good
Google. Mr. I played in jazz bands.
I did play in jazz bands, but what I think for Andrew, and you're right in terms of like the lack of humanity he has. And I think the other thing too is the ego he has as well. Mm-hmm. Like there's the great dinner table scene where he's sitting with his family who never really understood why he's chasing this passion. They don't get it. And he's with like his uncle, his aunt, and their kids, who are, one's like a genius scholar, the other is like a quarterback. And he starts talking about his accomplishments, and then they cut him off, and then he just rips into both of the kids like pretty ruthlessly, being like, "You're just a D3 quarterback. That doesn't mean anything. You're going to be forgotten by the end of this. By the end of your life, you're going to be forgotten. Nobody's going to remember that you played at some random school." And like that scene in and of itself shows what he wants. He wants to be remembered as one of the greats, as one of the jazz legends. Mm. And I think it's very interesting in terms of like, I think jazz legends, they're like 1960 and before. I think for like a general audience in terms of like who are jazz legends, they probably learned them in history class, like Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, like when's who's like the most recent fucking jazz like great superstar? Herbie Hancock, maybe.
Herbie Hancock's pretty old, man.
Miles Davis is fucking old as fuck.
It's 19.
Yeah. I'm Lily. This is so great. I have 2 monitors right now because I'm doing the fucking Google right here. But yeah, no, it's just they're. Yeah, it's a weird fucking thing to hill to die on for this guy.
And the movie doesn't directly reference it, but I get the perspective from the family is that they almost view jazz as a dead art.
Well, I don't think it's more so jazz. I don't think they understand that he's doing jazz. They just think like, oh yeah, whatever, you're doing your fucking music thing, like cool, whatever, cool job, kid. Like, yeah, when are you gonna get past that? Sometimes you have people that do end up like saying that we're just like, all right, like, what's this bullshit like side project music you're doing? Why don't you get into your real job? They don't really respect his passion. They don't understand him whatsoever, which kind of I feel like fuels people in a way more so, where it's just almost like now it's a fuck you to his family, fuck you to J.K. Simmons. Hey, I could fucking do this performance. It just almost he gets in like a self-hatred thing where it's just like, I need to prove everyone in my life wrong. And it's a destructive cycle he's obviously in.
Yeah, and I mean, we see it. There's just a lot of scenes of him practicing, and I pulled some quotes from an interview with the editor of Whiplash, Tom Cross, who won an Academy Award for his work. He said, Damien told me that he envisioned it as an action movie first and a musical drama second. Chazelle also said the style of the film should be subjective, and he referenced Taxi Driver, where the editing style represents Andrew's state of mind, nervous and false manic at all time. So I think when you think about the way that it's shot and the language the film is telling you, right? Like, where is that uneasiness coming from? It's a lot of really quick cuts, close-ups on faces.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying at the beginning of this pod, like this movie is like just a fucking crazy anxiety dream where it's just constantly the stress, where it's just you feel unease. You could feel just like Andrew's performance anxiety. I mean, essentially, where it's just like think about I was thinking about this the whole time I was watching this, so then I'd probably have like a fucking anxious, nervous breakdown where it's just like you make one wrong move, this guy's gonna scream at me and fucking get in my face, throw a chair at me or something. Like, oh my god, like I couldn't handle that myself, but like fucking to see that one of the shoes as a character was just create a very uneasy, like fucking uncut gems type, like anxiety level of direction and performance.
Yeah, I think I like those anxiety.
Yeah.
performances, movies a lot more than you do, mainly because like
I like them.
I don't experience too much anxiety, just generally. No, not that you don't like them, but for me, like like really overly gory movies, like give me the heebie-jeebies. I think like really anxiety-driven films can give the heebie-jeebies to a lot of people, especially people that deal with a lot of bad anxiety in life.
Yeah.
Like the way that like for you, like gory horror is just like crunching popcorn, baby. Here we go.
Well, I mean, I can handle both aspects. I mean, like, the best thing about horror movies is that you can experience your anxieties in real life. Where it's just like, all right, cool. Like, I know what that feels like now. Cool, whatever, act it out. But this is definitely up there in the canon of just like movies that like randomly are psychological thrillers that you wouldn't expect to be psychological thrillers.
Yeah, and another point that Tom Cross made about the edit, he said Damien wanted different cutting strategies. For instance, he wanted the music scenes to be like fight scenes, violent, brutal, and ferocious.
Mm-hmm.
And his big reference was Raging Bull. Fantastic movie, by the way.
I haven't seen it. I tried renting it on Netflix once, and sorry.
He wanted to show the opposite of jazz as beautiful, gentle music in which the players are in harmony. He wanted the viewer to feel the physicality of practicing and playing, the life or death stakes that he remembered growing up as a competitive jazz drummer. And you definitely feel that experience. I know that this movie was a short that was at Sundance in 2013. It was a 17-minute short.
Yeah, it was Johnny Simmons was playing the role of Miles Teller.
Did you just call him Johnny Simmons?
No, look, Johnny Simmons, the actor Johnny Simmons.
Oh, okay.
He was in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He was in Perks of Being a Wallflower, a movie we covered that I completely forgot about.
Yeah, we were not too kind to the Perks of Being a Wallflower, but regardless,
J.K. Simmons and Johnny Simmons, they did an 18-minute short, debut at Sundance, and that's how you finally got invested for this.
Yeah, that's how we got the money to get this made, and I think it is a really critical point because when you're watching this movie, the sound and the visuals of the music are like crucial. And I think a really big nod needs to go to Miles Teller because he was a rock and roll drummer. He had played rock and roll, but he had to learn how to learn the style of jazz for drumming. And he is filmed like 99% of the time as the drummer. It's only like those really close-ups of the hands. That's when it's somebody else. That's when it's like a professional drummer filling in for him. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the time, it's him. He is doing a lot of the drumming and bringing that physicality to life. And I think that essence of a performance gets overlooked at times. But I think it's there because you just see like while he like the pain, he's conveying the pain he's in, and he's conveying like the blood, sweat, and tears that go into this passion. It makes the character even more real, in my opinion, like just on that visual side of things, where if he wasn't,
it just shows the intensity and just like a way that's like
mm-hmm.
how much this is affecting. I mean, like especially in that 5-hour practice scene versus the competition, like face off right there.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it just shows like the dedication to these characters because it's one of those movies we watch where it's just like I would have quit like probably like 20 minutes in. I'd be like, whatever.
You don't have a passion for jazz, so of course you would have quit 20 minutes in. I mean, it's like if we had started a movie podcast and didn't have a passion for movies and we did the first episode and it sucked, we would have been like, okay, well, let's never do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what would be the equivalent for me then? Like the fucking, like someone's like, you gotta do a 5-hour movie podcast right now.
I mean, I could be really mean and make you watch the extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings back to back to back.
Hey,
because those you technically haven't seen. You've seen the regular edition, but you haven't seen the extended cuts.
I'm pretty sure I saw the extended cuts.
Oh, so you've only seen the extended cuts? You've never seen the actual edits of the movie?
No.
Jackpot.
You just pull that fucking It's like, yeah, like you like movies, you're really passionate about it. Here's fucking Lord of the Rings. Try that ass.
Viewers can't see me dancing right now because now Tommy can make some obscene horror suggestion and I can follow it up with being like Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, I guess so. I've only seen those movies once, and
You've only seen the extended editions. You didn't see the theatrical cuts, which I do believe are better. I think a lot of the cuts in the extended edition. The extended edition is only for
you just had such
diehard
a fucking
fans.
nerd. Goddamn.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah, baby. Oh hell yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm looking right now at like Miles Teller's this fucking filmography. It's kind of shocking to me. Like always felt like he's done more movies than he has, but like he really had like a lull period for a while. I mean, like, he did this obviously, and then like he had two clunkers in like the Divergent movies and fucking the Fantastic Four. That
I think the Fantastic Four tanked his stock for a while.
yeah, for a while. It's like because after that he had War Dogs, which nobody really remembers. And I'm looking at movies right now. Only the Brave, Thank You for Your Service. Like what? Top Gun Maverick resurrected his fucking career.
Oh yeah, he became A-list instantly. And I remember like after this, because what he had like Project X, he had some other like little indie drama thing. Then he had
Project X was years before this. Yeah.
No, I know that. I'm just saying like the
Yeah,
first thing I remember him being in because I don't have his Wikipedia page pulled up right now with his filmography. But then he was in some other indie, of the
He was like
time.
That Awkward Moment or something.
Yeah,
he had the
those.
Divergent series, which like I think everyone's kind of forgotten about. You hear like the Divergent series like canceled the fourth movie and try to make it a TV movie instead, and they're like, wait, no, let's just can it.
I literally didn't. You couldn't have told me that the Divergent series was a series of films. I would have just been
Exactly.
I would have been shocked that these existed.
These are movies that don't exist, essentially. I mean, like, so it's just shocking because like he gives a great performance in this movie, and like you would have figured he got a little more thunder, but I guess just playing Reed Richards just like is a curse. Because what happened to the other guy? No one knows about that guy anymore.
Well, Adam Driver is supposedly playing Reed Richards in the new one, so
We'll see. Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, there's so many rumors. Like, there's some like subreddit I follow on Marvel where like every day it's a new person. Where it's just like Mila Kunis might play the Thing. And I'm like,
Oh, I saw that. I saw that, and I was like, okay. I mean,
I'm here for it. Because
I
I'd hear for the Twitter comments being outraged about it.
the Twitter comments would be, I would be like, okay, you gotta like. I feel like Disney and Marvel have always been pretty good at like respecting the fans, and not like fucking with them. And I feel like casting Mila Kunis or a woman as the Thing would be a pretty big way of doing that.
Yeah.
So, but okay, let's not talk about a movie that's not going to come out for 3 years.
Well, yeah. So it's funny because like if anyone, I mean, I'm moving ahead here, but like the star movie obviously is fucking J.K. Simmons. I mean, the amount of clout he got, I felt like automatically from the Oscar. Want to play it now?
Oh yeah, I'm playing the song.
I am a star. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. I am a big, bright, shining star.
Tommy, you already mentioned him, but who is the star of Whiplash?
Yeah, it's fucking J.K. Simmons, and he takes it away. There's no other person who could say. I mean, like he won the Oscar from this movie. I mean, like he got to do Terminator Genesis off of this. He got to do Justice League off of this. Fucking terrible movies, but still, he's a guy that like pops up constantly before and after this movie. He's just gonna be constant presence, and like he just delivered like pretty much the greatest performance of his career, role he's meant to play. I mean, like he's done similar roles in comedic fashion before, but I think Damon Giselle just unlocked the greatest potential of J.K. Simmons here.
Yeah, I think the focus on his character, I think making him a true villain, like when I think of him as like J. Jonah Jameson in the Marvel movies, like he's like a light antagonist to Spider-Man that's kind of like a joke from the comics in the 60s, but he's not like a serious antagonist. And it's like it's way more comedic in tone when he's on the screen in those movies, where there's nothing funny about this movie or his performance. It is truly terrifying the moment you see him. And there's something about like the physicality that he has, like just this slow walking, this polished look to him, like from his completely bald head that seems to be squeaky, shiny clean.
Yeah, he fucking
down to the all black t-shirt and pants combo.
it's a
it's
total
intimidating.
Yeah, it's a total thing where like the second he walks in the room, you're fucking intimidated. You're just like, all right, cool. I guess I'm right into this. Like you would just immediately be like, how can I not fuck up around this guy?
And you see it too in all the players that he plays with. Like when he walks into a rehearsal session, all the players divert their eyes from him. They don't even want to look at him. Like they're all petrified of this man. They are all terrified of his wrath, of what he can do to somebody. And I think he is it's a great example of manipulation, right? Because what he wants to get out of somebody is one of the greatest performances of all time. And most people are just not cut out to it, which leads to the great ending. I know we kind of skipped ahead to a different section here, but how can we not talk about the ending?
I mean, yeah, it's we got to talk about J.K. Simmons, obviously. So like you have to mention he's a star, obviously. The ending, I think, was up for interpretation. I think the most subtle thing about this, and the thing that is the most open for interpretation in this whole movie, is Paul Reiser's fucking face. And I didn't know Paul Reiser was in this movie. Great seeing him. But seeing his face, just like watching his kid play and just like give that great performance. And I couldn't tell if the look in his eye was, oh my God, I understand it now, or something like that, or oh my God, my son has lost his mind. What is he doing?
I think it's the latter of what you said. I think it's
Yeah,
he
that's
lost
what I'm
his
thinking
mind
too.
because like he's hearing this amazing performance here, but the father is so terrified of Simmons that he can't really see what's going on the stage where so Simmons gets fired from the college, but he forms his own band for this jazz competition during the summer. He invites
Yeah,
Andrew to be a drummer, and then he pulls the carpet out from under him, doesn't tell him the song that they're going to play, and he fails completely, falls on his head. But he walks right on back out there. He realizes that his career is over. There's only one thing that he can do to save his career, and that is to give the greatest performance of his lifetime. And he starts it off with Caravan, and then goes into an insane solo that gives me goosebumps. It's how you said that, like you paused it at that moment, and you're like, oh wow, there's like 40 minutes left in the movie. Like the last 15 minutes of this movie are a drum solo, essentially.
yeah. No, I mean, it was great seeing that, but I mean, like, so I just think that's what's great about this, because in one way it gives you goosebumps, like, oh, this is a great performance, but in a certain way it's just like, am I supposed to feel fucking happy for this character that gave this great performance, or am I supposed to think, oh my God, this character, it got set off went off the ledge? He's never gonna have a normal life. He's never gonna have a human connection in his life. This is it for him. He's just gonna be fucking J.K. Simmons' fucking drummer boy, essentially. And that's how I interpret it in a way, because I feel like it kind of felt, it was kind of grim.
I interpreted it as he knew it was his last chance to ever have a foot in the door in this world, and he just botched his performance, and then he gave himself life with that. And the look in Simmons' eyes when he realized what was going on, and that in that performance, and in contrast with the father's look in his eyes, it's two completely different looks, and he does not understand. And I love how it just ends at the end of the song. You don't hear the reaction from the audience, which is what you want to hear. You want to hear like a standing ovation, like you're craving that almost. And then it's just left to your imagination. It's left to your interpretation, because for such a formal world that something like jazz is, especially in a competition, something that atypical is shocking. So you don't know, like, will this land him a slot in the Carnegie Hall jazz band? Will this get him in the Blue Note? Will this get him into a studio?
What I like about this movie is how it ends there. It ends at, I think, a really interesting point in this whole story, because it's literally just the beginning of his life. Literally, he could go home to his dad, start a career as like a fucking med school student, like the other guy in the drum band, and then just like, not worry about J.K. Simmons, probably have less anxiety in his fucking life and less depression. Or he could stay in and have this career, possibly end up like that player that J.K. Simmons was talking about that was amazing, that ended up killing himself because the abuse that J.K. Simmons gave him and anxiety, and that mental shit just sticks with you. So it's just a weird, interesting crossroads, and it would have been like if there's a hokey movie, like would have had him like getting like joining the fucking Philharmonic for fucking New York or something like that.
Flowers thrown at his feet at the end of the performance or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
It's that ambiguity of, well, what's next? Like you're craving that, you're craving more of the movie, and that's what makes that ending so powerful and so impactful.
Yeah. Like obviously it would ruin it, but like you almost would want to see a sequel of just be like, what happened next? But obviously, that'd make the movie awful. So.
Are you ready, comedy partner? Waka waka.
So Tommy, would Whiplash work as a Muppet adaptation?
Yeah, the fucking I forgot about this segment for a second, but yeah, fucking you just put Animal on the drums. It's just Animal trying to be Miles Teller, and J.K. Simmons,
tempo, waka waka,
and he's like, ah, tempo, or some shit.
Just that one scene of the not my tempo.
No. Then he fucking tackles J.K. Simmons. Animal fucking tackles J.K. Simmons and fucking tries attacking him, and J.K. Simmons is like mauled by goddamn Animal.
That would be pretty hilarious. Not gonna lie. Anyway, that will never happen. A Muppet adaptation of Whiplash, and I think for good reason. So Tommy, review time. Give me your score to 5.
This is crazy movie. Like I said, an anxiety dream, but something that this was a great watch. J.K. Simmons was just very intimidating, very menacing, just hit like certain nerves. And I think that this end up being like a surprise psychological thriller in some ways. And I do like how Damien Chazelle just like pretty much just made like the ending up for interpretation. I think the writing of this was perfect. Music was obviously amazing. Editing also was great. Really just brought you inside the anxiety. I'm gonna go like 4.5 out of 5. So,
as I said before, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. Top 10 for me. I think for me, the power of this movie might come down to the timing of when I saw it and making me realize that like there's more to movies outside of just what Hollywood releases. Like the bigger budgets. Yeah, is indie phase, but just like more not prestige dramas, but just more that there's more life to movies than just big blockbusters over and over again. I think the music's fantastic, the performances are terrific, the editing top notch, and just the feeling, the anxiety that crawls over your skin. It really makes you think, and it makes you uneasy, and I love that feeling from this movie. 5 out of 5. Highly recommend if you have not seen it. And that's Whiplash. Tommy, any final thoughts before we wrap this episode up?
We need to come up with a list of best anxiety dream movies. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow us on social media at CNETPod. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And leave us a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We have a great week coming up next. We're going to be covering Fear in Las Vegas, a movie I've never seen. Timmy, have you ever seen?
I don't think I've ever seen it. No, I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen it all the way through.
Never seen it all the way through. It's celebrating, I think it's got 25th anniversary.
25th anniversary.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a returning guest, Upstairs Steve, because he's on for our 90s episodes. So apparently, but yeah, it'll be a great time. So
his 90 our 90s episodes when he decides that he wants to be on one of our 90s episodes.
Yeah. So we have a resident occasional 90s expert in Upstairs Steve. So anyways, listen, subscribe, follow us on social media. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys all so much for listening. We will see you next week.
Welcome to the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
What up? What up?
Well, each week, we'll explore the classics of the horror and sci-fi genre with a little comedic twist.
We will ask those important questions like, why don't they get out of the haunted house the first time they see the ghost or the demon?
Why do people feel like, hey, there's been a spooky disappearance, but I'm going to investigate myself, even though I have no investigative background?
Or why didn't I realize I was dead the whole time?
These important questions and many others we will get to the bottom of. So check us out each week at the podcast that wouldn't die.
Be there or be square.